Welcome everyone. I'm Judy Gill. I'm an independent advisor with Creative Memories out of Swartz Creek, Michigan. And I'm so glad you could join us today. I'm going to share with you a tool that's been with Creative Memories a couple years, maybe even longer. It's the circle cutter. However, I'm sure many of you have never seen it before. And I'm equally sure some of you have bought it and have not a clue as to what to do with it. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you how to use it, and I'm going to show you some fun things that you can do with it. This is not a craft along. However, if you have it, you might want to dig it out and get some scrap paper and play along with me. First, let's talk about the tool itself. So to do that, we need to move the screen up so you can see the tool itself. Okay, so here's the tool. This is the circle cutter. There are two knobs on the circle cutter. There's a big one and a small one. The big one is for adjusting the size of the circle, and you do that by unscrewing this and moving it down however big you want the circle to be, and then you tighten it back up. The other thing that does is it holds this in place so that when you're going around it's not moving, and it does that because it has this little gripper thing on the bottom, and so when you push this, it holds onto the paper so the paper doesn't move around. It also has a magnifier so that you can see it, because most of us don't have 20-year-old eyes anymore. And then it has on the bar centimeters on one side, and on the other side of the bar it has inches. Now the white inches are for cutting, and there's a little cutter right here to show you that. The black numbers are for drawing, and there's a little pin right here to show you that. The only pens that will work in it is the Creative Memories dual tip pen and the dot pens, and only the fine tip part of that, the bigger side of the pen won't work. So the small circle, the small little knob is for cutting. When you open this, the blade is right here, and it's a safety feature so that when you push this down, the blade does not come out. But if you push this white little bar in and push the circle down at the same time, there, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's, well, where would it go? It's just a little tiny sliver there, and you may not be able to see it at all, but that's what cuts. So we're going to cut a circle. I'm going to cut a 6-inch circle. I think I can get a 6-inch circle out of here, and I'm just going to show you what you need to do. So you need to loosen the bar, and you need to move the magnifier to the 6, and you're using the white lines, the white numbers. You're going to put this in what you think might be the center of your circle, and then you're going to go around with it. This is the middle of this is where the blade is going to be, so I think it's not going to be far enough in, so I need to go in a little bit further. And this one, and I may not be able to do a 6-inch circle with this one, so I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to loosen this, and you don't move the big circle, you move the bar. So I'm going to go into 5 inches, and then I'm going to tighten it again. If you move the circle, then it moves the whole thing, and you won't be able to cut with, you won't get a good circle. Okay, so now I'm going to be within my bounds. So now I can push on the white thing, I can push down on the blue, and I can spin it around and cut. And I usually go back again just to make sure, especially when you're practicing, you want to do that. Okay, now if you want to do a ring, you hold this blue thing down, the big bar down, keep it tight, loosen it, and then move this bar. So I'm going to move it in 1 inch to 4. You cannot go bigger, so you have to cut your biggest one first. Then tighten it. Hold this in and this down, and then go around. And if you're uncomfortable with that, you can spin this around and hold this with this hand too. It's a very flexible tool. Okay, and you can keep doing that to make rings. And then I have 2 rings here. And that one didn't cut real good. Not too good. And then I have a circle and I have a ring. Okay, so that's the basics of the circle cutter. Okay, so, okay, if you want to make a ring, like I said, like this one, you want to remember to hold the big circle down and don't move it, except that a friend of mine, Nicole Soul, came up with an idea that works really well. So if you have a 3x3 inch sticky note, you can center that on your mat. So I put that on my 6 inches there, and I put that 6 inches there. So I'm centering my corners on my mat. This needs to be pretty precise so that you can be sure and get your circle cutter lined up the way you want it. Okay, then I'm going to take my zero centering ruler and I'm going to draw a line from the top corner to the bottom corner. Then I'm going to draw a line from the two corners here from side to side. Then I'm going to measure down 1 1/4 inches. From this line down this way. So 1 1/4 inches will be, there's 1 and there's a 1/4 inch right there. So then I'm going to go a 1/4 inch across there. And I'm going to do it on the other side too, just because I'm probably going to be upside down for you guys. And it's 1 1/4. And I will write 1 1/4 here, but I think it'll be upside down for you guys, but I may be wrong. Either way, it's 1 1/4 inches from here to here. And that will do a couple things. So now if we want to make a circle, and I'm going to make a circle with a piece of paper. This is not a 12 by, well, maybe it is 12 by 12. Yep, I guess it is. I'm going to line this up then. I want to take my zero center ruler again, and I want to line this up with the center of my mat. And I'm going to put my points on it. And I also want to put my points this way. Oops, come back. Because I want to center this on my paper as well. Okay, so that needs to come down a little bit. And I move the whole thing. Okay, and then double check that one again. And that needs to come over a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now I can take my cutter. The largest circle you can make is 11 3/4, but that's going to leave, not much space here. So I'm going to make an 11-inch circle. So I'm putting my magnifier at 11. Remember, that's the white line. I'm going to tighten it. And I'm going to put the magnifier right in the center. And remember, the middle of this is the center, so I'm going to put it on the center on this side. And then I'm going to check my magnifier so you can see the top of my head, and everything looks good. So I'm going to push this in, push this down, and I'm going to cut around. Okay. Now I can use this piece on another page. But do you see how, even because I took the time to make sure it was centered, this is centered all the way around, and it's even all the way around. So I now have a nice frame for a page facing this one. Now, because I moved this, it would normally be very difficult to get this, to get a ring like this. But because I have this mat, or this cheater sheet, I can move it, and then I can go back and do it again. So I want to make a 1-inch ring. Now to make a 1-inch ring, if you remember your geometry and your radius and circumference and all that stuff, you can do math. If not, just use the numbers I'm telling you and you'll be good. You need 1 inch on either side of the circle to make a 1-inch ring like this. So that means I have to move the knob over 2 inches instead of 1. So I'm going to go from 11 to 9. So I'm going over to 9 inches. And I said before you needed to move this, the bar, instead of the circle, but because we have this, we don't need to worry about that. So now we can tighten that up at 9. And we're going to put this back on the sticky note. So we're going to put the edge of this right on the edge of the line of our 1/4 inch mark that we did. And we're going to put this, because we can't see the sticky note right now, we're going to use the ruler, except I've lost it. I always lose it. There it is. It's clear, so it's hard to. So I'm going to check and see if it's 6 inches right. Yeah, that's right in the center. And my magnifiers, I can put right on the lines on my sticky note, and I know that that's right. So now I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to push this in, push this down at the same time, and I will have a 1-inch ring. So it's 1 inch all the way around here. So that's 1 inch. I'm going to put that back up and center it again. And now I'm going to do a 1/2 inch ring. So to do a 1/2 inch ring, you need 1/2 inch on both sides of the circle. So I'm going to add 1/2 and 1/2 to make 1. So that'll be, so I need to move it over 1 inch. So the last time I had it at 9, I'm going to move it over 1 inch. So I need to move it over to 8. That will give me a 1/2 inch circle. Yep. So I'm going to put my magnifier right on the lines, and I'm putting my cutter right on the 1 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to push this in, push this down, and cut, and I'll have a 1/2 inch ring. So now we have a 1 inch and a 1/2 inch. Now we're going to do a 1/4 inch. So we need a 1/4 inch on both sides. So a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch is a 1/2 inch. So we need to move this over a 1/2 inch. But the 1/2 inch, these are not, from 5 to 6 is not, these little lines in here are not 1/2 inches, they're tenths. So to do a 1/2 inch, we have to go in between these two little lines. So we're going to go, we're at 8. We want to do, we want to make it an inch. We want to move it over a 1/2 inch. So it's going to be halfway between the 7 and the 8. So it won't be on a line, it'll be in between the two lines. And then we're going to put the cutter on the edge again, put the magnifier on the lines, hold this down, push and cut. And now we have a 1/4 inch. So we have a 1/2 inch, no, an inch, a 1/2 inch, and a, oh, that didn't come up good, and a 1/4 inch. So we could do something like that with it and do a page like that even. And where's our other little guy that we, this guy. Oh, no, that guy, I lost him. I'm always losing something. The big frame, you know, that we could put a whole frame around it too. Instead of using it on the other side of the page, we could do that. All right. So some other things we can do with it is we can mat pictures. So now pictures are a little bit trickier to do because if you want to, I know this is a 4x6 picture. So we want, so it's 4 inches across here. So we want to do the cutter a little less than 4. maybe one line less than 4. So it'd be 3 8/10. And then we want to find the center of this as best we can. You might. I wonder if that sticky note would work. Except I lost the sticky note. All right, so stick this in where you think the center is, and then go around and see if you think it's going to work. And it's going to be too far, so I'm going to put this right in the center of the picture, and then go around. Yeah. So yes, you can do mats with this, but it's probably easier to do a picture and cut a picture with the cutting system than it is to do with this. However, the mats are really good because you can do any size mat you want. So now I have my picture that's just slightly less than 4 inches. So now I can cut a circle. I need a 4-inch mat for that. So I want to do a little bit bigger than 4, or a little bit bigger than so I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to go just 1/8 of an inch bigger, and then I'm going to cut, and I think this will go around okay. Yeah. And of course, since I'm on camera, things don't work exactly like they're supposed to. So this is slightly less than 4. This is 4, and that will give me a 1/4 inch mat for it. Okay, which is what this is. And then if I cut just a little bit bigger than 4, so go 1 line past that, then I'll have another double mat for it. Or if you like bigger mats, you can just go from here to here. But there's all kinds of things that you can do with that. So now what can you do with these things? I just showed you one thing you could do. You could flip those and do these guys like right here. You could also spread them out and do some rings like that. Do some different things. It's just fun. And then here are some other things. Here's one that I did. You can do some things like this with it. Here's another one like that. Here's another one with different sizes. Here's one. This little guy actually goes around. He moves back. He used to move back and forth. Now I think he's stuck. I need some of that non-stick stuff that we had for a little while. You can make rings and then put pictures in them. Here's another one. Here's another one. And you can also draw with it, like I said. This one I used, I did a plate and drew inside. These I did, but I can't find them, so I have pictures of them. And I drew, the rings around like that. And then this one, I drew the rings around and did the little guys. And I'll show you. To do the rings, I don't have a pen right here that's going to work, but you could go like with this one. I think is probably a 3. So we go like to 3, and I could tighten that, and then no, I have to use the remember to draw, you have to use the black lines. You can't use the white ones. They're too big. So you would do this the same way. You would push this down and you'd put the pin in here and then guide it around. This is not going to write because it's not the right pin, but you would go, well, it is going to write. Well, partially. And that does go around. So anyway, so you can draw with it. It's just a really, really fun tool to use. And this is a 2-page spread that I did with the rings. And you probably can't see that. Let me see if I can put it up higher so that you can see both pages. There we go. Oh, you didn't like that. Okay. So lots of things you can do with the circles. Now, here's my website. So my website is right here, www.creativememories.com/user/Judy A. Gill. Here's my Facebook group, Judy's VIP Creative Memories Customers. This is a private group. This one you have to request to join. And this Facebook group is my discontinued products. It's Judy's Discontinued Creative Memories products. This one is a public group, so anybody can join it. And this is my email. So you are more than welcome to join, to join me on either of the Facebook groups and to contact me via email or website. Either one will get you to me so that you can answer, so I can answer any questions. The VIP group is a group where I post like when we have new products that come out, and they come out at least twice a month. And sometimes there's some promos, like I think I posted it on the volume page, that if you ordered last week, you could get a free bundle for ordering $150. So that's, fun things that I usually post on there, so you can be the first to know that kind of stuff and be the first to get those products. Judy's Discontinued Products is products that I have that Creative Memories doesn't have anymore, that I have posted. So if there's something, an album or a tool or something that you have wanted, or you saw somebody or Pinterest or whatever, and you saw it and you want it, you can contact me and see if I have it. You can check the discontinued product place first if you'd like to, but you can personal message me from there as well. So that's pretty much what I have for you, except I have 8 minutes left. So let me tell you about some new products. And be sure and check the volume website. I didn't remember what, we have to do these things so far in advance that I don't remember what specials I put on there. But be sure and check out the specials that we have. Usually one of the specials is the 12-inch trimmer. And if you haven't seen this, go to my VIP group, and there's a video on there for the 12-inch trimmer. It is an awesome tool. It's the best thing we've had for a long time. We also have silicone mats, and I have one on here that I use on the bottom of my mat to keep it doesn't slip, especially when I'm using like the cutting system and stuff. It doesn't slip so much. Also, you can use it when you have thin things like this, because it doesn't, the repositionable tape does not stick to it. So I can put that on here like that. Or if you've got Cricut letters or whatever, the border maker system, it works really, really well for this stuff. And you can then stick it on. It doesn't stick to the mat, and it doesn't get tape all over everything. And then you can tape it where you want it. So that's a good tool to have as well. I sell those. There's 3 of them in a bundle. There's the big one, this one, and a square one for cards that's $28. Or you can buy them individually. The big one is $13, this one's $10, and the other one is $8. So they're fun. And this is one of our newer things that we've got. This just came out this month. This is a crop caddy, and it will hold, I've got my cutting system pieces in here, in the sides, and then I have my scissors, and here's the little square mat. No, that's this mat. I got one of those in here. I've got pens, I put my scissors, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and it swivels so it goes around so you don't have to keep digging for stuff. That's $26, that's pretty cool. And of course we have the punches, all the punches, and we've got cutting system pieces. We've got all the normal stuff that we normally have. We have punches, scissors, or albums. You've probably seen when I was talking the albums that I have in the back. Those are for sale. So we do have, I have, lots of products for sale that, well, if you guys have been to Mega Meat, you know what I've got. And I do crops at my house. So if anybody is within an hour or so from Swartz Creek and want to come. I have people that come over an hour away and get a hotel for the weekend and just come up and spend Thursday through Saturday crapping, and they can leave their stuff up overnight, and it's pretty cool. So they enjoy doing that. I guess I was too fast on this thing. I wasn't watching the clock, and so now I'm 5 minutes ahead of schedule. So let me show you a turkey. I know this isn't in the class, and actually I'll show you that tree, because this tree is pretty cool, and I can do it in 5 minutes. Let me turn this upside down. So this is a bonus. So what I did was I cut a triangle. This is a 4x5. And from the triangle then, I used the Mandela Burst punch. And I made borders. I think I made about 4 borders with the punch. With the punch, you put this in at the line right here. Right here. Punch that down, and then you move it over until you don't see the blue part anymore. This will cover it up. And you punch again. I'm going to flip it over and do the other side, just because this is not 12 inches, and we're going to need more punches to be able to do this than what we have. So now, let's see, I'm going to toss these. Then I'm going to use the trimmer. And on the trimmer, this is the cutting line, this where it says 2 or 1 or whatever. And then right next to it is 1/8 of an inch. And then on the gray line, it's 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to move the edge of this right here to 1/4, to the right where the gray line is on this side. And then I'll do that on the other side too. So I'm cutting that off at about quarter of an inch. I'm having trouble. Okay, then, I'll show you real quick here. I've got a triangle. I'm just going to cut a little triangle right here out of this thing. Okay. Then I'm going to put tape on the bottom of this. Put one of these guys centered in the middle. Actually, I'm just going to do the one like that. And then I'm going to trim this one off. Oops, I got that upside down. I'm going to go this way with it. Then I'm going to put foam squares right here along this edge and put this one right on top of it. Only this time, instead of having this centered, I'm going to move it over so that these two are on the outside of this one. Then I'm going to put foam squares on here. This time I'm going to center it again. And I'm going to trim these off. I'm going to put foam squares here, and this time I'm going to offset it, so I'm not going to center it. Okay? And you just keep doing that all the way up until you get finished, and you have a nice little tree. So you can use this tree for an outside page. You can put a little star on it and decorate it for a Christmas tree, whatever you want to do with it. It's pretty cool. You can do the same thing with the turkey. The turkey, I cut a circle with a cutting system and a small circle for the head, and I made that same Mandela punch, only this time I cut them out in triangles. So I cut them apart like this, and I cut it longer, and then I put them on the back and just arrange the turkeys how I want it, and I used like 3 different colors. And then added some eyes and his little faces and whatever. So that's a little bonus for you today. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you guys do any of these things, if you do some things with the circle cutter or with the Mandela punch, making a turkey or a tree, join my VIP group and post it there. I'd love to see what you've done, okay? Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your patience today.